What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to look at some of the biggest games not shown or not announced at the PlayStation Showcase yesterday. Now, I like to do these kind of videos. I think they're fun in a more sadistic kind of way, but they give us a chance to talk about people's disappointment, and I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, let me say this to kind of open up the video. I would say over kind of thoughts, I thought about the PlayStation Showcase quite a bit. I do like it for what it was. Specifically, the last 10 minutes, I think you really couldn't have done better. Obviously, there are things that were not there that are certainly going to disappoint people. And with those being said, like I said, even in my live stream yesterday, some of these things do exist. Some of these things we know are happening, and they just weren't here. I love games. I thought they did a pretty solid job, not just showing their own exclusives, but just a bunch of kind of other games that are also just coming out into into our homes and into our lives over the next little while. So kind of back and forth, but I kind of want to make it clear where I stand. I understand if you're disappointed. I get it. I really do. At the same time, saying that the show was maybe god-awful because Hogwarts Legacy wasn't there, I don't think that's exactly fair. Not saying you said that, but you know what I mean, okay? And that's the first game I think is pretty fair to talk about. Really, again, and I guess another thing to quickly throw in is a lot of these are just speculation. A lot of these were things that we we either came up with on our own, or somebody, maybe an insider, kind of tipped people off to this, and maybe it got out of hand, or maybe people were just flat out wrong in the first place, right? Hogwarts Legacy, really, to that side's credit, never really said anything. I think it was really the fans fully for this game. And again, it's not a bad thing, but it's been a full year. Actually, next Thursday, it'll be a full year since the game was shown, and people are hungry for it. And I understand that. I think a year is a long time to make people wait specifically for, a Wizarding World game. Did it make sense to be there? Yeah. I don't think it didn't make sense, specifically because the first 25 minutes were mainly third-party stuff. Knights of the Old Republic was kind of a console exclusive. The Uncharted thing, Forspoken is a PS5 game. But, besides that, I would say actually besides just those three games, the rest of them were more just all third-party things, which would have made sense for Hogwarts Legacy to be there. But, again, this game we know is real. We know is coming. I get it's disappointing. Trust me, I want to talk about new things with the game too. Me, maybe more than anybody. But at the same time, we're going to get it. Maybe Game Awards, and we'll talk about that as videos go on. Crash is another one that kind of comes to mind. The 25th anniversary was literally just a Twitter campaign, because that's really all they did for it. Now, that's on Activision. That's Activision's fault. I want a new Crash game. I don't think it really, see, again, like all these are actually kind of different from each other. I don't think this diminishes the idea of like new Crash games coming. I still think that the rumors are probably onto something with, whether it's like a Crash Bash kind of thing, right? The 4v4 multiplayer kind of game. I still think we're going to get a game like that. It's just obviously it wasn't announced at the, it would have made perfect sense. It just obviously, it didn't happen. And again, obviously disappointing for people that were in that camp. I got to talk about my main man, Sly. Look, again, let me again make it very clear. I've always said I believe that we will one day get Sly back. I still do. And I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, and I've said that before. I believe that Sly 5 is happening. The guy who leaked it, who said that it is, he's very good. This is not a guy who's at like a 50-50 success rate, okay, in terms of what he gets right and wrong. This guy's accurate. This guy is very trustworthy. Now, I'm the last person that's going to tell you to trust the gaming industry, because I don't do, gaming journalists, gaming developers sometimes, but mainly gaming journalists. They're the people I would least trust most in this world. But with that being said, there are some good ones out there, and I like to kind of pride myself on being very picky on them, and this guy was a good one. So, I don't know. Again, it's a situation where it doesn't make sense to be at the PlayStation Showcase. Of course it does. Does it mean it's not real? No. It absolutely, it could very well be real, and you just don't show it. I think, besides the stuff they did show, Wolverine, Spider-Man 2, God of, they showed some really big stuff. Another thing that gets me excited is we still know they're doing so much more that they didn't show, whether they're not ready for it or whether they're going to do it kind of in waves. That's kind of what makes me the most excited, maybe above everything else, is there's a lot more to go and to come from PlayStation Studios. So again, if you guys want to feel better about things, there's your kind of history lesson, or there's your briefing on why you should feel better. But Sly, absolutely, it's disappointing, But again, I mean, I think I'll probably always go into these shows hoping, but never like 100% expecting. And then when it happens, you will probably be able to see me cry live on air, right? Abandon is another one that comes to mind. In fact, people had reminded me of this. Where's Hassan, right? Well, that's kind of the logo or the slogan of Blue Box Game Studios. Where in God's name is Hassan? This is fully reliant on what they're doing, what it actually is. Because if it is a Silent Hill, if there is a Kojima thing, like stuff like that, again, like these are things that make sense to show up, but for whatever reason, they didn't. So that's another big one that is kind of dependent, though. I mean, you could play devil's advocate for every single one of these. You know what I mean? Hogwarts Legacy, maybe WB Games doesn't want to do it at a Sony event, even though they announced it through a Sony event, but say they've had a change of heart, going forward, right? Sly could just not be real. You know what I mean? Abandon could literally be an indie game, and it doesn't really make much sense to show up. You know what I mean? So, like, you could do that for all of these games. Crash could not be real, right? You could do that for pretty much anything that I'm coming up with. Again, I understand that these are games that people really, really wanted to see, and then when they didn't see it, they were obviously pretty disappointed. Those, I'd say, were kind of the big ones to me. I'm trying to think, like Horizon, I said I didn't want to see it there, and it wasn't there, so I guess that's good. Kena, I said that it shouldn't be there because it comes out. I don't know why Deathloop was there. It's literally at every single event, on the face of the earth, so that's something. But I'd really say I would assume those are kind of the four big ones. I'm sure I'm missing out on some. If people expect, I guess, GTA 6, or I don't know, are people still expecting that to show up, in 2021? I don't know. Those are some games, I guess, that kind of come to mind as well. But, they did a good handful of things that I think we could have expected from them, and then there were definitely some games that were left over. But again, or maybe like Last of Us Factions, that's a good one, right? Like that probably, it's easy for me to say. And I do mean this. It's easy for me to say, that should have been there. At the same time, like, we should see it relatively soon. I don't really know what the holdup is, but like I say with all these games, I'm not one that grabs my pitchfork and goes out on the street and demands the game tomorrow. I know that sometimes gets, mixed up in people's heads where they say, Alex, you're demanding this game, releases immediately. I'm not demanding anything, okay? Except for Sly to come back. That I'll demand. But the rest of the things, I'm not really demanding, okay? I'm not a demanding person. So let me know what you guys think. Any games you were hoping to see or flat out expecting to see that were not there. Infamous Collection, that's another one that literally just came into my head. There were definitely ones, and again, some of these may not be real. Some of these may be real, and that's also what's exciting is, like, although they weren't there, that doesn't stop them from showing up in the future. You know what I mean? Infamous could return. Sly could happen. Hogwarts obviously is a real thing, right? That's looking on the bright side, I guess, is the phrase I'm trying to come up with. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to support me in any of my other social medias, I do have a Twitter. I do have a second YouTube channel. We also have Patreon and YouTube memberships if you guys want to support us there. Links for all of that stuff are in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.